Episode 21, back to the Mets. Another series loss for our New York Metropolitans. A series loss to the Cincinnati Reds at home, a team that obviously made the playoffs over them last year and are in pretty good standing in the National League wildcard race, at least better than the Mets right now. But they were able to salvage the last game of the series. It was a nice win. It was a feel-good win. And you know what? Just to completely go off the rails here for a second, not really off the rails, but I watched the last inning of that game once I got home from softball, and I don't know why this bugged me so much, but it did. First of all, it seemed like there were more people in the stands than I thought there were going to be for this week. And secondly, I know it's his job to keep people engaged, and I understand that SNY needs to sell ads and they need to keep the Met fans going. I think Gary seemed a little too happy on that save call for Devin Williams. I don't know. Am I just being a complete negative Nancy out of it, like bad fan right now? Because you could tell me, and I would almost agree with you.
Yeah, well, so first of all, I want to say I was with you that I thought it was going to be dead both Tuesday and Wednesday in that ballpark. Monday is a different scenario because it's a holiday. People buy tickets in advance for a game like that. They go with the family, whatever. Tuesday night, I went to the game, and I'm thinking there's going to be nobody there. I might even be able to move down. I was sitting in the 300s at first. I was like, oh, maybe I'll move down to the 100s. It'll be empty. There was a really good crowd on Tuesday night. And they gave him absolutely nothing. It was a pathetic showing by the Mets as usual. But in terms of what you were talking about with Gary, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay.
I was going to say that was probably the least excited I felt after a win. Out of any of the 23 wins we've seen this year, because it was just like once they lost the first two games of the series, after being swept in Miami, it was like, the 5-game losing streak. I was so done. And they win Wednesday, and it's kind of like, okay, cool, glad you didn't get swept, but like you still didn't feel good about how they came out of that series. So I get it from that perspective, but I don't know. I mean, bases loaded, 2 outs, close game, top of the ninth. I think no matter what the situation is, the announcer is going to get excited and should get excited. So I don't blame Gary at all, but me personally, I feel what you were thinking because I wasn't like pumped up after Williams got out of it.
The only reason why I was pumped up is because I got a save in fantasy. And I needed that.
I dropped his ass 3 weeks ago.
He's my closer. So, and it's slim pickings for closers right now. So I need him to start to get going here. But yes. All right. So I'll throw that out. The home broadcaster's got to be excited, especially based on. I mean, it looked like it. I walked downstairs. I get out of softball. My dad's like, "Oh, Williams about to blow it. He's about to blow it, and it's on." I'm like, "All right, let me sit down and watch and see what's going on here." But let's get into it. We'll start with Nolan McLean. Let's just go in chronological order. We didn't actually originally put this on the sheet. We completely forgot about it. And Nico made a good point. It feels like it was ages ago. We're recording this Friday, but Monday afternoon, Nolan McLean again. And now I think it's a little bit concerning. As a week ago after that Washington start, I'm kind of saying, all right, you know what? He's young. It's fine. Now you get a start like that against the Reds at home. I'm a little worried about what's going on here with the future ace of this staff.
I'm not worried about his future necessarily. The optimistic side of me, like my first text to my buddies was 2017 Jake all over again. Because if you remember, DeGrom struggled in 2017. There's that famous picture of him in Texas with Terry Collins sitting in the dugout with him with his arm around him, talking to him after he got rocked. I think he gave up like 8 runs in 4 innings that night. And then from there, DeGrom became one of the greatest pitchers we've ever seen, right? The back-to-back Cy Youngs, 2018, 2019. Obviously, 2021, he was on pace to have one of the greatest seasons in MLB history. The ERA was at 1.08 before he got injured. So I'm not worried about future McLean beyond 2026. But right now, it seems like it's a real struggle for him. And I think it's more mental than anything else. Like the stuff is there. And I know Keith and Ron were talking about it on the broadcast during the game Monday. He's not even close with that sweeper. Like the best part about that pitch is that when it goes along with the sinker, you get guys to chase. But when it's 3 feet out of the strike zone and when it's coming out of your hand and it's already a ball, you're not going to get many hitters to swing at that pitch. So I think it's just mechanically, mentally, like something is off with him, but I'm not worried about him figuring it out because, like we said, the stuff is electric.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers right now, and I saw the stat that he raised his ERA, more than 2 full runs over the last 3 starts here. He's got 61 innings, got 75 strikeouts. So, like, right there, again, like you mentioned, the stuff is there. He's still nasty. The ERA is 4.4. He's got a negative base B WAR, baseball reference WAR, and his ERA plus is under the league average at 89, which is shocking to me. Even with these bad starts, you would think, okay, the ERA plus and advanced stat, it's going to be higher than the average of 100, and it's not. It's below the average. So, I agree with you. I'm not concerned about the future, but if this is a lost year, fine. If this is going to be a lost year for the team, it could be a lost year for him as well, and it could be that 2017 DeGrom season. That's fine. But it is a little frustrating because if this was going to be a bad season, the one thing I think a lot of Met fans, including myself, and I think you as well, looked forward to was being able to watch him every 5th or 6th day and saying, yeah, this is something to look forward to for the future.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't know the answer to this. I don't think you do either. None of us do, because no one knows what's going on inside his head, what's happening behind closed doors in that clubhouse. But does the Clay Holmes injury affect him at all? Because it's not a coincidence that Clay Holmes goes down and then his next 2 starts are both bad, right? Because Clay Holmes got hurt against the Yankees that Friday night. His next start was Tuesday against Washington and then the Monday against the Reds. So he's pitched twice since Holmes got hurt, and they've both been bad. So is it almost like he's feeling the pressure of like, now I really have to take on that role of being the ace because Holmes got hurt? I'm not making excuses for him. It's just something that I thought of.
Are you saying mentally, like,
yeah,
as a, like, oh, this guy's a competitor, he's a friend, they're close, he's hurt, or more of, oh, I have to pick up the slack because this guy was pitching so well, now it's a lot more on me?
The second part. He has to pick up more of the slack, because if this team has any chance of coming back from the dead 10 games under 500, Nolan McLean has to be that guy. He already did to an extent, but I think there was a little bit of, when they brought in Freddie Peralta before the season started, what was the biggest reason we were excited for that move? Because it took pressure off of McLean.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be the only starter that went out there and was able to go 7 innings and dominate from start to finish.
I just think I already viewed, like, as great as Holmes was, and I'm not denying how great he was because he was, I always still, in the back of my mind, viewed him as the number 3 or even the number 2. It was still McLean as that number 1 guy. So maybe a little bit, but I don't, it shouldn't have affected him like that. And then if it did, I know he's young, but that could also be an issue. If Freddie went down, it'd be one thing. If it was Freddie instead of Clay that went down, okay, and Freddie was pitching well, then I think we can have the argument. But we came into this season knowing that this rotation, and obviously Clay was a big part of it, but it really came down to how great Freddie and McLean were going to be.
I guess, yeah. It's just, I think you have to change your thought process as the season goes on. I mean, we sat here and talked about how Bo Bichette is going to have to be a big part of the offense. He's going to slot right in that 3 spot in the order, and it just hasn't happened. Like, there needs to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, adjusting on the fly with your thought process. Like, once we came into the year and saw through the first month and a half that Freddie Peralta was not the guy that we thought he was going to be, Clay Holmes kind of took over that role. Like, I don't trust Freddie at all, to be honest. He actually annoyed me in his last start because everyone's talking about how he can't go past 5 innings. And then he actually gets through 7, and he's fired up after he gets that last strikeout to finish off the bottom of the 7th. But you gave up 4 runs.
Yeah,
not a quality start. Why you hyped up as if like, oh, yeah, I proved everyone wrong and got through 7. Okay, but you still didn't pitch well enough. I'd rather you go 5 shutout than go 7 innings and give up 4 runs.
I completely agree with you. That pissed me off as well. That did anger me when I saw that. But I mean, I'm just doing a check on Bichette quick because you mentioned his name.
And I don't want to make it seem like I don't want them. Like, I want them to still show emotion. I want them to care. We complain that they seem lifeless. So now I'm like contradicting myself. I can get why it would seem that way, but do it in the right moments. Like when you like Devin Williams, as much as we were sitting here saying that win meant nothing, I was okay with him being fired up after he got the strikeout to
I
finish
agree
off the
with you.
ninth inning Wednesday night. Like, yeah, you got out of that. Granted, it was your own fault that you were even in that position. You didn't need to walk 3 hitters and load the bases, but you got out of it. You got the job done. They won the game. Be fired up. Totally cool with that. Don't do it when you're down 4-0 going into the 8th inning.
You know, McLean had a start against Detroit where he gave up a couple of runs early, I think 3 runs early, and then settled in and didn't have his best stuff. But we came on here and talked about how that was an ace-like performance because you knew he didn't have it, and he still went 7 innings, and he got the win, and he ended up being good in the game. And, you know, got himself into and out of trouble that day. And he showed a lot of emotion after he got out of that 7th inning. And I loved it because, you know what? First of all, you were winning, right? You just swept the Tigers. And that, I mean, that was perfect. But
Yeah.
the Freddie one, yeah. No, I don't like the Freddie one.
I was granted, I was already in a pissed off mood watching the game because the offense was just pathetic as it always is. But it's just like, I don't know, like it doesn't seem like they don't have the same thought process that we have.
What was I about to say? Freddie's gone, right? Freddie's gonna be traded.
I guess you have to. I mean, we don't know what it's going to look like in what would it be, 2 months from now, the end of July?
Yeah.
But how could we possibly sit here? And I hate the whole like, oh, they were 22-33 in 2024 and went on a run. Stop it. I've been the biggest proponent of. Is that the right word? Proponent?
Maybe believer, maybe supporter.
All right, whatever. I have been the one saying that it is too early to give up. Right? After the Marlins or going into the Marlins series, I was like, just go 5 games over 500 each month. Everything will be fine. They can slowly work their way back into it. And listen, that's still possible. I'm not telling you that it's over. I'm not telling you to stop watching. I know I'm going to still watch every game. Might not go as often, but I'll still watch every game. I was there Tuesday night because I got free tickets. It was miserable. I had a good time with my girlfriend. We walked around, got some food. By the way, tried the Oreo egg roll.
Oh, I saw those. Yes. How were they?
It was good. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, you have to, like, as soon as you walk into Citi Field, run to behind center field and get it.
Is it like too much going on? Is it too much going on?
It was a little bland, if I'm being honest. Like very, very doughy.
Okay.
Like I didn't get as much like cookies and cream flavor as I would have liked. If that makes sense.
They look unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll say this too. The picture is very like they hype up the picture.
Deceiving?
They make it look nice. Yes, deceiving. Thank you.
Yeah.
As they do with anything. Like you watch a commercial for Wendy's and they make the burger look fantastic, and then you go get one and it's like, I can see why this is fast food.
You know, I learned in home and recreation in 8th grade, I want to say, that you know, the burgers that they show or like the, you know, any kind of food in a commercial like that is so edited to the point where there's literal chemicals and even like little pieces of like equipment and stuff in the burger or the food that you literally, if you ate it, you would die. Like you can't eat that burger that they show on that commercial because of how much editing they do to it.
Yeah. The picture too. I did not know that actually, but it does make sense. I believe you because that is something that they would do. I'm not surprised by that at all. The picture, it's like cut in half and they show you like the inside. Yeah. We tried to cut it in half so we could split it, and it's like impossible to cut. So we're trying to rip it open, and it just didn't rip evenly at all. So
I'll tell you what, I got I think it was last year. because I had heard so much about the egg rolls over there. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go try one, and I tried they have it every night. I think they call it the Verrazano, and it's chicken cutlet with vodka sauce.
Okay.
And it was a random, weekday against the Phillies. I remember the game it was. It was the walk-off against the Phillies after they swept them at home last year. And it was great.
What if I told you I didn't like chicken cutlets?
Are you kidding me? Wait, hold on, time out. You don't like chicken cutlets?
I'm not a cutlet guy. I'm not.
I don't think I've ever met somebody that doesn't like chicken cutlets. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you like chicken tenders?
No, I'm weird with my chicken. Like I'll go to Wendy's, get some chicken nuggets. I love chicken wings. But the tender cutlet form,
How is this
too
possible?
big for me. I'm not a fan.
You don't like the taste. You genuinely do not like the taste of a fried chicken cutlet.
Just
thin.
Nah.
I like them thin. I don't like a thick cutlet. I like them cut thin.
I'm not a big cutlet guy.
That is on. I don't even know what to say. I actually don't even know what to say. That is incredible. That is incredible. It's like my favorite food. I can eat it every night.
But it's funny because my favorite food's pasta. So like I'm all over the Italian food. I just can't do like there's no chicken parm for me. That's not I'm not going to a restaurant.
Meal.
Chicken parm, no.
That's like an appetizer to the steak on a death row meal.
No.
Oh, that's insane. So if you go to Chipotle, you don't get chicken, you get steak.
Oh yeah, like steak. Oh yeah. Nice little filet mignon. I can get on board with some of that.
Oh my god, that is unreal. I don't even know if I can continue right now.
Well, I didn't eat breakfast this morning, so now I'm starving.
I just ate breakfast. I'm kind of full, and I'm chugging water, as you can see and probably hear. That is unreal. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Anyway, as I was saying, we got on the egg roll thing because I was there Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And I'm with you if you don't want to pay to go to games. That's fine. Like I know you told me before we started this episode that you're going to the game tonight, Friday night, because you got free tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that, but I'm not paying to go to games anymore. But I'm still gonna watch. I'm still gonna watch every game. I'm not giving up on the team. So there's two sides to it where you can, think that there's a chance, but I hate the people that are like, oh my God, they're 22-33. We got them right where we want them. Stop. Give me a break.
I saw that. The text was sent in the chat.
Right. Like
when they were that record.
They went 67-40 after that in 2024. This team is not going 67-40. There's no way.
I know we probably talked about this, but I'll ask it again because I did see somebody tweet this out. I don't remember who it was. I think it was a random account. Did we feel as bad as we did at whatever the number was at 22-32, 33, whatever it was? Did we feel as bad in 24 as we do right now about the team? I don't think so.
No.
But that's also an expectation thing. Take the expectation thing out. Just based on the way they were playing and the numbers that you were looking at with the players that they had, did we feel as bad then as we do now?
Yeah, but I don't think you could take the expectation thing out of it because that is a huge factor in how we feel.
Yes.
I remember not being as upset.
Just the baseball aspect.
I don't even remember, to be honest. Like, I know I was not as upset because my thought process was they had just sold at the deadline in 2023. They had all those prospects, right? It was Clifford, Gilbert, Acuna. We were still waiting for Jet Williams at the time to come up. Like, there was at least a bright future. And then the plan was, at least in my head, I remember texting my buddy saying, like, hey, let's trade Alonso because he was going to be a free agent at the end of the year and get a bunch of prospects for him. And then you'd go into 2025 with Lindor and the prospects. And I remember thinking, like, all right, they're still set up good for the future. I don't feel that right now. Like, yeah, like we talked about how the outfield is set up with Soto, Ewing, and Benj, and Lindor is, the shortstop, but even he now is 3 years old, gonna be 3 years older than he was then.
Right.
Like 2027 Lindor is not the same as 2024 Lindor. And if there's a lockout too, which I don't know if you saw
I did.
the offers that were made on both sides, they are not even close. $245 million salary cap. There's 8 teams that would be more than way over that. The Mets and Dodgers are more than 100 million over that.
You know what's interesting about that though, which I think maybe that's just like the optimism in me thinking about it. I was shocked with the minimum number. So I think there's wiggle room.
The floor.
The floor. I was shocked that the floor was that high.
Yeah, but even that, I don't like it being. I shouldn't say I don't like it being that high because if the cap goes up, then it is fine. But like to have only 80 million of wiggle room, I don't like.
Like between the floor and the
right.
Which,
like
but that's the first offer, and I think that was almost. I think it'll be higher.
You think they're lowballing it to start for the sake of negotiating?
I think they're lowballing the ceiling, and they're giving way more with the floor because their goal here is to split the union up because a majority of the union wants that floor to be higher. It's only the top 5-10% of players that actually give a rat's ass about the ceiling being that high. Most players don't get paid enough money where they really affect that high number in a big way. It's the Sotos and the Judges and the Lindors of the world and the Otanis that really care about that number.
Yeah, but someone on the Dodgers isn't saying that. Like, I'm sure Teoscar Hernandez is sitting there saying, I don't want a salary cap because it makes my team worse. He wants to keep winning championships, no?
How do they get to these numbers? Like, how does it... I understand it's, you talk about the teams that are way over the number, like the Mets and the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Phillies and whoever else it is and the Blue Jays. How do they sit in a room and make that offer though, when a lot of those owners are like, no, I can't. I physically can't do that. How am I going to shed $200 million in payroll if I'm the Dodgers ownership?
And the 170 floor bothers me because that shows that the owners are capable of spending that and they just choose not to.
Not yet. I don't think yet. That number, I bet you that number is closer to 100 than it is 150 when we get to it.
But they wouldn't offer it if it wasn't. Like, what if the players union was like, yeah, we're good with 170, but let's go to 275. Then they'll say, all right, let's go down to 150 for the floor. Now, all of a sudden, these owners can spend 150. What has Paul Dolan in Cleveland been doing for the last 20 years that he hasn't done that yet?
I think there's also something that I read, and I have to read the article with the TV money. I think even the regional network might be getting split. So if your team regional network sucks and you're not making a ton of money, I think you're getting revenue from everybody else. I got to check that though.
Can I be honest, to tie this back into a Mets point?
Go ahead.
I don't think I'd be that upset if there's a salary cap.
At this point, neither would I.
3 years ago, I would have been livid at the idea because my biggest point was the Yankees for 100 years were able to buy all these championships and no one said a word. Now, all of a sudden, after Steve Cohen buys the team in 2020, because you remember there was a lockout in 2022.
Yes.
Before that season started.
Yes.
I remember thinking, like, the Mets have one time, the Mets come in and they trade for Lindor and they have this high payroll and they bring in Baez and they're this big market team now. Then everyone's like, no, we can't have this. But when the Yankees were doing it all those years, it was fine. So 5 years ago, I was like so against the salary cap because I thought it would have been so unfair for the Mets to be handcuffed after the Yankees got away with it for years. But now here we are 6 years into the Cohen era. And does the money really even matter?
I'll tell you what.
Like,
I think it helps a guy like David Stearns out. Be honest with you.
how? If anything, it's made him look worse.
No, I'm saying a salary cap
Oh, yeah.
makes it, you know, plays more into his strengths. Where
Absolutely.
the pressure of having to spend a ton of money on big time players and him building a team the way he really wants to, and I'm sure he's doing that anyway, but now in a more controlled setting, I think does actually help David Stearns, and it takes some pressure off of him. And also everybody's playing on an even playing field.
Yeah, but I don't think I agree with you. I don't think the money helps the Mets anymore, especially with Stearns at the helm, because he's not going to spend it the way we want him to. People have told me otherwise, but I am the biggest believer that David Stearns had nothing to do with Juan Soto coming to the Mets.
Yes, that was Steve Cohen.
People have told me, no, Stearns was there in the meetings and he helped, by allowing Soto to see the vision of what the future looked like.
I believe that.
I don't.
I believe that.
What was his vision? What was his vision?
A very good a farm system that was rising, a lot of young players, young pitching, and the way he was going to build a team, with replenishing the farm system constantly and bringing guys up. And, Juan, yeah, you're a young guy. You're going to be playing with young guys, and we're going to spend money on veterans to supplement the rest of the team. Like, I think that part's true. But I think gun to his head, does he sign a player $55 million a year who doesn't play a great outfield? No, he's not going to do that.
Right.
That part I completely agree with.
So he did in his plan, but that's what bothers me about the whole situation is that we're saying like, oh, it's whatever, he can work with it. But that's a major change to your plan.
When they hired him, and this is true, when he was hired, at the end of that 2023 season, they had conversations about Soto. So I don't think he gets hired without him signing off on saying, we are going to make the biggest offer to Juan Soto. We are going to make him the highest paid athlete of all time. I don't think Stearns gets hired without saying yes to that.
I guess. I don't.
There were conversations about it.
I just think I was able to understand the short-term deals were only there to buy time until the farm system was truly ready. But you can't do that with Juan Soto in his prime. Like, we're sitting here talking about Lindor being in his mid-30s now. And you could argue that we wasted his prime. His prime is past him. He might still be a great defender. He might still be able to, hit 270 and hit 30 bombs, but he's not the same player he was 5 years ago. If Steve Cohen hires David Stearns and Stearns tells him, my vision is by 2028, this team is going to be ready to go. I don't think that Juan Soto being here for 3 years before that, now by the time it's 2028, he's almost 30. Now you're paying him for the next 10 years in his 30s.
Yeah, but remember the
timeline doesn't add up for me.
But they sign him.
Like, when you sign him, it should be let's go now and win in 2025, 2026, 2027.
You don't think they tried to win in 2025, though? They were just in the National League Championship Series. They add one of the best players in baseball. In that 25 season, he's still replenishing the farm system. He still has these guys, that are close to coming up. He's doing that part of it. And you had a core that just went to the National League Championship Series.
But then,
who did you want him to sign? Who did you want him to trade for in that offseason in terms of the pitching staff? Because obviously that was the biggest issue in 25. And I'm genuinely asking, because I don't really remember, who did you want him to sign that he didn't in that offseason?
There really wasn't. And okay, they went for it in 2025. That's fine. But then now, like, what is this now that we're dealing with?
I think he went for it and he missed.
This was not him going for it. If this is him going for it, then that's a huge issue. His player evaluation is horrible then.
I think this offseason it was really bad.
Like I don't trust him now going forward. I could trust him with prospects, but again, by the time that's a thing, Soto's already going to be almost 30, and now Lindor is probably done.
Because McLean comes up last year, great. He's one of them. Tong's been up. He's here now, great. Benj is here. Ewing's here. Like the big dogs that you had, and then obviously you trade Williams, who would have been up already at this point, and Sproat for a frontline guy, at least somebody you thought was going to be a frontline guy, great. I think there's still guys in that farm system. I think right now, you just have to see these guys develop, and then you see what you have next year, and
if there's not a next year,
well, then you're dealing with that's out of his control, though. That I can't put blame on him for. And remember, we had this conversation. Do we believe that the pending lockout had any effect on the way he went about this offseason in terms of long-term contracts? I absolutely think that's a thing. And look at it. He's already got a $380 million payroll. He's $140 million over. At least in 2 years, when you probably have some wiggle room to get out of it, there's probably going to be some grandfather clauses into that, I would think. Now it makes it a little bit easier for him to get that number down. I don't want to defend him because he's done a really crappy job this year. I don't want to defend him, but I'm just trying to see it from his view that maybe his player evaluation isn't totally off.
Okay. I don't think he's getting fired. And even if I'm the owner, I would fire him. But I don't think he's going to, because the only thing that I could understand from Cohen's perspective is you don't want to have to go through the process of hiring another GM. This is the 4th GM now in 6 years.
Maybe he needs a GM.
Well, yeah, I guess. I've always thought that was weird too. Like having a president and a GM. Like everyone always goes after Cashman. No one says a word about Randy Levine as the president. Who's the one that's really calling the shots, though?
Cashman. But Cashman's president of baseball operations.
Oh, so Levine is just the team president?
He's the team president.
Right. So then you don't need a president of baseball operations and a general manager.
There's certain things that he won't do that the GM would.
Like what, though?
Like probably Eric Wageman coming up. Like maybe that's on the GM.
Yeah, but those moves are kind of just like whatever. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe he called up Eric Wageman.
Those are the kinds of moves that I think a GM makes that a president does. Like I don't know. I'd love to sit in the office for a week and see what the dynamic is, but
I don't know. I just to go back to the reason why this whole conversation came up. I feel worse now than I did in 2024 because I don't see the future being as bright. And maybe I'm wrong because I thought the future was going to be bright after 2024, and now here we are 2 years later and it's a disaster. So maybe me thinking that they're going to still suck in 2028, maybe they'll be amazing. I don't know what to tell you, but to answer the original question, because of David Stearns and because of the lack of things that they have to move, the lack of prospects that are in the system, like, is it crazy to sit here and say that David Stearns has been so hyped up about having a good farm system? Is it really that good right now? Like, who else are we waiting on? You're gonna tell me Mitch? You're gonna tell me Mitch Voigt, the first round pick last year, who's not gonna be here until 2029?
Is that fair? Because he just brought up 4 of his top guys and traded 2 of them. Is that fair? We don't know what these guys look like yet. That's not a fair way to look at it. He just brought up 4 of his guys. 4 guys in that farm system. Not his guys, but 4 guys in that farm system.
I don't even count Nick Morabito.
No, I'm counting Tong, McLean, Ewing, Benj. Those 4 guys.
They won't even start Tong.
Those are
They had to call him up and bring him out of the bullpen.
Well, I think that might change right now. We can talk about it, but like, I don't know. I guess I'm not as negative as you are right now.
I don't see the vision. That's my issue. I was able to see the vision in 2024 with Epler. Or at least what Epler set them up for once David Stearns took over. But I was a big believer of like when Stearns.
That was a David Stearns offseason though in 24.
Right, but I'm saying like at least you knew going into 2024 that it wasn't about winning in 2024. It was about winning. That's why Scherzer wanted to get traded, because they called him in. They had the meeting, and Scherzer didn't like that they said that they were going to, basically suck the next 2 years. Their vision was we're going to sell Verlander, Scherzer, whoever, they traded away, Tommy Pham for whatever. But the two big trades were Verlander and Scherzer, and the plan was to be good in 2026. And that was set in 2023. So when they're 10 games under 500 in May of 2024, you're not like, oh my God, this is a disaster, because you knew that was the plan all along.
But it's not always great, and it was a fun ride. I'm not saying I would trade it in right now, because I wouldn't. 24 was one of my favorite seasons of all time. But when the winning gets fast-tracked and plans change because they did, things like plans changed.
But how many times have we seen that fail?
A lot.
I know it's a different sport, but I'll give you an example. Look at the Giants. 2022,
exactly.
Dable shows up, and Daniel Jones is great. They go into Minnesota and win a playoff game and go to the divisional round, and then they give Jones $40 million instead of paying Saquon. Still to this day, don't think they should have paid Saquon. That's not my point. Just saying they paid Jones $40 million for the next 4 years, and it totally screwed the franchise.
Everything changed, though. Everything that they thought was going to happen changed in one season, and they were basically tied down. They had to, you could not bring Daniel Jones back in that spot. He just won a playoff game on the road. He had his best season of his career, and he had a up and rising head coach, offensive guy that rebuilt, Josh Allen, at the helm. And there was a thought that he could do the same for Jones, not to the level, but you know what I mean? Plans changed. They were like, oh crap, now we got to redo this. That's what happened in 24. And again, I think no matter what, they would have went after Soto, but maybe Soto doesn't sign here if you don't go to the National League Championship Series and have the year that you had.
But that's what I don't like the idea of doing it. I don't even know, like kind of going for it, but also not, if that makes sense.
You're half pregnant.
They were like, all right, now I guess we have to go for it, but I didn't really want to. Like that shouldn't be. You have to have it in your mind of what you're going to do. I understand that the results change things. If they won the World Series in 2024, obviously it changes.
At that point, I don't give a rat's ass what happens.
Right. Then it's just like whatever. But look at the Yankees. They went to the World Series in 2024 with Soto.
Plans changed,
but they were always going for it. There was never like I don't know.
But they were.
I think in Stearns' mind, there was always the I don't know. Like, I truly believe we will never know the answer to this question. I truly believe that he was not that upset that they were bad last year.
No, I don't agree with that.
We were devastated as fans. He wasn't, because he was like, all right, now I get to go back to my original plan.
That was embarrassing. That was bad. And a lot of the moves he made outside of Soto were his moves. Clay Holmes is his move.
But that's why he got rid of the core, because he was able to use that as the scapegoat. Oh, don't worry. All the guys that were here before I was here are the problem. So we're going to get rid of them, and then I'm going to do it my way. He told you, he forced you to believe that everything done before him was the issue. It's true. And
You hate
how
David
could you
Stearns.
not? How could you
hate
not
David
believe
Stearns
that?
to a level where you believe he's playing mind tricks on everybody.
He
Like you
is. I
believe that, like
swear
he
he
is the
is.
devil. You believe this guy is the devil.
If you look at last year, and again, we've said before that I was okay with getting rid of the core because they didn't win anything. I was okay with it. I moved on. Pete, love you, but it's fine. See you later. Nimmo, loved you. Fine. See you later. McNeil, liked you. I know a lot of people didn't. See you later. Whatever. But when you actually look at it, he took a guy that was average at first base defensively, but was hitting 40 home runs and over 100 RBIs, and got rid of him, and then brought in people that never played the position. You cannot sit there and tell me that you cared that much about run prevention if you brought in Jorge Polanco to play first base, or you said that you're going to move Mark Vientos to play first base, or you brought in Bo Bichette to play third base. That move made no sense.
Let's have a conversation in an alternate universe. Okay. Let's say 2024 goes the way I think all of us thought it was going to go when they were 22 and 33, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you exactly what happens. McNeil's gone. Alonso's not offered a contract. Winker is never on the team.
Well, they trade Alonso at the deadline.
They trade Alonso at the deadline. And they do everything they can to get rid of Nimmo. Do I think they do it in that season? I don't know. But they do everything. Like, the core is broken up after that 2024 season. If they do not make the playoffs and go on a magical run. But they did. Plans changed. Now they have an absolutely embarrassing collapse. And you're right. He probably did want to get rid of that core. And I don't think he was wrong to do so. But he just did it a year later. So I guess it's your point where, you know what? He really, plans changed, and it's a year too late now because you had Soto for a year and you're kind of retooling on the fly in the middle of his prime and the end of Lindor's prime. I just don't think he's this. I don't think he's the devil like you think he is my point.
And I will say this every single episode for the rest of the year, if it's what I need to do to get people to believe me when I say this. Not that people would doubt me on this, but I hope he proves me wrong. I hope that I one day get to come on this podcast and put my hand up and say, you know what, David, you were right. I'm sorry. You're the greatest GM on the planet. I love you. I hope that happens. I don't want to sit here and bash my president of baseball operations. I don't have fun doing it. I don't, everything he does. Like, a perfect example is Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver, to me, has been awesome this year.
Yeah.
I have been very pleased with what he's done out of the bullpen. And the first thought is like, well, there you go. You got to give credit to David Stearns. But he's made, 3 good moves out of 20? It's Luke Weaver. It's Clay Holmes. It's calling up Ewing. That's it. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you gotta give David Stearns credit. He deserves it. Good move by signing Luke Weaver. When you're the president of baseball operations, you don't get to go 3 for 20 and get a round of applause. Good job, David. You made 3 good moves, but the other 17 sucked. Doesn't work like that.
Your boy's gonna speak today is regular once pro and availability.
I really didn't think we were going to talk about Stearns today, and now we just went off.
Just completely went off on David Stearns. Let's talk about this. Kind of involves David Stearns. And I think we've had a little bit of we had like the pre-conversation about this. You know, we had talked about this like weeks ago where we said when everybody really got hurt, we said he's just going to blame injuries. That's what it's going to be. He's going to just blame the injuries. I don't think that's fair. I don't agree with it because they were bad prior to everybody going down.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it will be used as an excuse?
Absolutely. Because there's even part of me where I could sit there and say, maybe if Lindor is there? Because here's my question to you. If Lindor is healthy, and even Polanco, I'll give you Polanco because this was a guy that was decent enough last year where veteran hitter, you respect him. Luis Robert, whatever. Alvarez got hurt kind of recently still, so I don't put him in that category. Same with Clay Holmes, just got hurt 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But if Lindor and Polanco are healthy, how many more wins do they add? They're 23 and 33. Is it fair to say that they add 2 more wins each?
Yeah, and it's
so now they're 27 and 29.
It's a lot different
instead of 23 and 33.
You feel a little better. That's for sure.
I don't want to contradict myself and say like, oh well, David Stearns gets the benefit of the doubt because if guys stayed healthy, they'd be better, because 27 and 29 is still not good enough for a team with a $300+ million payroll. The only reason that we're sitting here saying it is because it's better than 23 and 33. But if someone came into the year and asked you before the season started, right? You were the one that said 90 wins, win the division this year. They were 27 and 29. Forget what your mind is telling you now. Think of your mind in March. If someone said 27 and 29, how do you feel? Would you take that?
Probably not, no.
Right.
But I think the one thing that the injuries didn't allow them to do was get out of the rut that they got themselves into when they were healthy. That's the one thing the injuries did not allow them to do. Because if you did have Alvarez and he was playing decently well, and obviously Lindor and Polanco, then maybe you're sitting here and you're closer to 500 as opposed to 10 games under on May 29th. That's the one. So, like, yeah, it was still disappointing. It was still really bad. They were still not a good baseball team. But maybe when they went 6-1 over that 7-game stretch, maybe it was a longer stretch of winning, and they
don't immediately go 1-7 after.
Right. That's what I think. He'll get the benefit of the doubt. And I truly believe that it'll end up being what consumes this conversation of the season.
Because that's the only thing, too, that is keeping me from fully giving up. Is the idea that, like, hey, if they just go do what they just did, right? They had a stretch where they went 10-5 in a 15-game span. Right? If you go 10-5 in the next 15 and you're, what would that be? 33 and 38. And then you get Polanco back. He might even be back sooner because he actually already started his rehab assignment. I'm just using it as an example. But if you're only 5 games under when Polanco comes back, and then adding Jorge Polanco gives you 2 more wins, and then Lindor comes back in mid-July, All-Star break, and they're only 3 games under 500, then if there's 75 games left, why can't they go 15 games over 500 in those last 75 games? That would be what? 45 and 30?
I mean, it all really depends on where the wild card race is at.
Very true. But it's just logically, that is the thought process where it's like, hey, there is still a path where they can win 85 games. It's just I don't think that it's very likely. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not coming in front of the microphone like this team's going to win 85 games. Let's go. I'm just saying the fact that they have guys that are coming back is the only reason that I'm not giving up.
I can't believe this is where we're at.
Anyone, though, that uses that to say that David Stearns should be excused for this year, go take a hike, because that's ridiculous. Because they would still be under 500 if everyone was healthy. And that was not the expectation coming into the year.
Tong should start, no?
Absolutely.
I mean, even if it's in place for Peterson, who, I mean, just stinks.
Well, I think the reason that Peterson is starting is because they don't want to have 2 bullpen games.
They can't. Yeah, we talked about that last week. You literally can't do that.
Can we stop with Peterson starting, though? Like, we just watched it on Tuesday. He can't do it. He threw a 30-pitch first inning in back-to-back starts.
I saw your tweet about about Senga last night.
Enough with this guy.
I've been tired of Senga for like 2 years now. Be honest.
80 pitches in the fourth.
I've been tired of Kodai Senga for a really long time now. I got to tell you, it's just like it's a what if thing, and now he can't pitch. It was always a what if thing, and now he can't do it.
Couldn't be more done with anyone on in the entire organization.
And it's not even like, you know what, it wasn't a terrible signing. It's a failed experiment. You know, it's $15 million a year. It was a failed experiment.
Yeah,
is what it is. You move on.
If they're gonna go get a starter from Japan, though, can they also not go get a 30-year-old?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Like, we viewed him as like 2023. He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year. The guy was 30. Like, why do Yamamoto and Sasaki and even the hitters like Murakami, they come over in their mid-20s, and it's like it really feels like you're adding some youth.
He was 30 when he came up.
Yeah, he's already 30. What, he's 33 now? Going to be 33 this year?
He's 33. You forget about how good that year was, though, in 23. You do. Then he doesn't pitch in 2024. Besides,
yeah, it was a disaster. I'm done with him. Next.
Just the what if.
Next.
He's the what if guy. He's the Justin Herbert of the Mets rotation. Not really, because Herbert actually performs and does well. I'm a big Herbert guy. I hate that narrative with Justin Herbert. Can't believe we're working Herbert into this, though. What else we got? Eric Wageman is not the next Melendez. I know you wrote that. I know you wrote it as a joke.
I don't even care if he is, because what is that going to do for them? Like, MJ Melendez was cool for a week and a half, and now he is horrible too.
It's like 1 for 35, I think.
Yeah, like stop.
You know what's funny? Sitting there watching on last Friday night, he pinch hit for Torrens in the ninth, down 1. I'm looking at his numbers. I'm sitting there with my buddies, and his OPS was like 700. And I looked at my friend who's dying, my friend. I said, nothing for nothing. Not that I thought it was going to last or anything, but his OPS was like 1,200 a week or two ago. So this means he literally hasn't gotten a hit in 2 weeks when he's played. Yeah. And then the next day he's playing, and the stat comes up. He's like 1 for his last 30. And I was like, oh, I was right. He really just has not done a thing.
The bipolarness, if that's even a word, of this team is unbelievable. We've said it before, like it can't be this bad the entire year. Like David Stearns was talking about the law of averages. Like, eventually it's going to come around, and we've even seen flashes, and then it's not sustainable. Like, how does someone go from being impossible to get out when he first gets called up to then 1 for 30? Like, even Bichette had the 3 home runs in a 2-game span in Washington. And then he goes back to being horrible. And it's like, can we find a happy medium here?
Probably not. There's probably no happy medium. There's no happy. How about that? So you will not be at any games this weekend, correct?
Maybe there's a small chance that I decide to go Sunday, but I highly doubt it. Highly, highly doubt it. Unless the tickets are like $5. And if they lose the first 2 games of the series, I'm definitely not. But, maybe if it's like a rubber match and I'm not doing anything and it's nice out, I'll consider it. But
Ferretti on the mound tonight against Max Meyer, who shut them down last week. It was that Saturday.
Yep. Same pitching matchup as Saturday. Yep.
Same pitching matchup as Saturday. Then this Saturday you've got Phillips, and is that the guy that pitched Sunday? Phillips?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it Scott for the Mets? So that's the exact same matchups, the first 2 games that we saw last weekend.
And then Sunday is Junk against Nolan McLean. So there you go. So you get the same thing just in New York. How much worse can this get? The Mets and the Marlins will be back after this series before they head out west for another West Coast trip, which should just be so much fun against the Mariners and the Padres. And who else is it?
If they win 2 out of 3, how do you feel?
Probably nothing, but It depends on how it looks.
Right.
I need sweeps. I'm getting
That's what's so frustrating. Like if they win 2 out of 3, you should be happy because especially after winning the last one against the Reds, you could go out west and be like, all right, they've won 3 out of the last 4. But they just did that and it led to nothing. So it's like, how do you get excited?
tough to get excited right now. See what happens. We'll talk to you guys after. Check us out on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Obviously, this podcast available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back after this Marlins series at some point. Maybe there will be change. Maybe we'll be happier. And maybe we'll talk a little bit less about David Stearns. We'll talk to you next time.